Murray from NBN. A little bit of stuff here for you today. We're going to have a look at some mutes. The one I've got in at the moment looks like a double mute. We're only looking at trumpet mutes, but all these are available for trombones as well, and flugelhorns, and just about any instrument. In fact, a lot of test pieces use baritone, UFO and tuba mutes and things nowadays, which look like a Sputnik satellite, but you can use them. So what's in a mute? First of all, it changes the tone. Don't be trapped into thinking that all mutes just stop the noise. They don't. They change the tone for an effect. They're an effect instrument. This one is called a solo tone or clear tone, and you can see it's a double shape. Fairly rare, used in things like Chicago, which I just started off with, and a few other bits and pieces. You can hear the sound. Here's the normal sound. Here's the muted sound. And then you can add the wah-wah effect. Okay, that's what that one does. Just put him down there. The two most common mutes that we use are the straight mute. Right, now this one is a copper fax one, beautiful mute. You can buy ones that just look like a straight cone. Different ones, you can get stone lined, you can get this is copper, you can get aluminium ones, and they all have slightly different tones. So get the sound that suits you or the sound that suits the ensemble. So this is the most common one, and when you're playing in a piece of music, if it says concertino, that's what this one is. So it doesn't really lose too much volume, but what it does do is give you that narrower, closed sound that's there. The next one that we use, throwing these carefully on the floor so they don't make a noise, this one's called a cup mute. Now there's a variety of these. There's the Ray Robson mute, which is a beautiful, softer sound. This one is the stock standard brass band, Hiemsberg. Must be a million of these in circulation. You can get metal ones, you can get adjustable ones, so you can adjust the tone. Whatever you need, you get. You can spend a lot of money on mutes. Notice when I put them in, I'm also just twisting slightly. That just makes sure it sticks into the bell so it doesn't fall out when you least expect it and go clunk on stage. Guaranteed it'll be in the quietest part of the piece. But this is what a cup mute sounds like. So it's a much softer sound, much more mellow, used a lot in ballads and things like that. Beautiful, beautiful sound. And again, you can get various different ones. I use that one generally as my stock standard mute. Then I use, on my trombone, I use the Dennis Wick adjustable cup because it's I can get much better sound control over it. It's your own, it's up to you. Play the mute, have fun with it. The third one, or in those out of the three, is this one, called either a wah-wah mute, Harman mute, boo-wah, you name it. It has, let's try and get it, it has an extendable cup. There's arguments as to whether people should have the stem in, the stem out. If you look at Miles Davis, he uses one a lot. Now the tricky part though with this mute is getting it to stick. Now there's a couple of ways you can do that. One is just to fog your instrument. One is to lick the cork. I prefer the fog your instrument version just because I really don't like licking cork unless they've got alcohol on them. But this one sounds like this. Quite a narrow sound, but if we remove or we pull that stem right out, you get a different sound if we remove it again. So you get a different range of sounds on that one. Up to your director, up to your decision as to whether you have that in or not. And then when you get this one out, just pull it down a little touch, just so it breaks that seal and it'll come out nice and easily. 3 more to go. This one Now, this one's called a bucket mute. This is an unusual one because as most of the bucket mutes you'll see actually only have the bottom section and 3 clips. And it clips over the bell. Now I don't like that. First of all, because this is a larger size bell, so often that sort of doesn't fit properly. And secondly, I find it damages the bell. So I much prefer this one. You can see it's stuffed full of cotton wool. I didn't do that, that's the way it came. I've got one somewhere without the cotton wool and it's quite an unusual change of sound. But it's a dead sound. So it's quite a nice, it's almost a horn type sound, but not quite. Lovely mute. All these things, again, composers write for them, composers put them in place, and sometimes they want you to play them as a section. You can have some great effects. And finally, a wah-wah, right? Now, this is a Dennis Wick one. Now, you can pay about $70 for this one. It looks a bit like an ashtray, but it sounds like this. And that's what it's used for. If you don't want to spend $70 on it, sink plunger from your local hardware, $2. Just remember to take the pole out. Right? There's a toilet plunger or a sink plunger. Toilet plungers usually are the bigger ones used for trombones, but these ones work just as well. And you can get the same effects. So it's up to you, whichever you want. All these mutes give you an effect. They do not silence the instrument. The one that does silence the instrument is this one, called the Schmute, a practice mute. Now there's a number of mutes available. Dennis Wick bring out whisper mutes. There are quite a number. Thomas Crown do them. Fax do them. Just about all the mute companies bring out a practice mute, and some of them are fantastic, some of them are pretty average. This one, I find this is made by Bremner, and I found these are fantastic. If you can't make noise while you're warming up, or you're in an apartment and you need to practice, like I use these in hotel rooms and things like that, when you can't play out loud but you need to have a blow. No matter how loud you sound, that's the max sound you get out of it. So a little practice mute, great. So if you're teaching too, by the way, and little Johnny says to you, I'm not allowed to play because it's too noisy, it wakes the baby, think practice mute. There's always an answer. Hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed doing it. We'll catch you around.